Hey guys, you can't really see me, can you? Yeah, you can't really see me. The guy I like to look at on YouTube, Bo of the Fifth Column. He's like military and all this stuff. Really great guy. I guess people like Bo. He's military. He talks a lot about from the military point of view of the way our society's going and stuff. Like when they had the protests and Trump wanted to do martial law, he came at he brought the military aspect with that one. Just talking about how Trump was escalating a lot of things, which he was. Bo is talking about a case, high school newspaper. They put out a story on the Kentucky State Police and their training, which had Nazi stuff in it, it had Robert E. Lee stuff in it, and another guy, a Greek philosopher who hated democracy in it. Look, one thing that gets me about, he went into how they should be taught that it's wrong. It's a rip-off of the Dave Grossman, The Art of Killing stuff. That Dave Grossman's teaching, he's writing books. He got seminars, I believe, on, going into war. Well, it's called On Killing. His book's called On Killing. Saw it years ago. Just teaching you about the psychological aspect of killing another human being. Bo's talking about how it's good, but police should be taught that how killing, you should feel. And I agree with him. You should feel. You should not. You're not a soldier. You're not. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't teach law enforcement that. So, I guess from him reading everything, what hit me was this. It's not so much that law enforcement is bad and all that. It's kind of like law enforcement is an institution, and in some ways it's doing what it's supposed to do, even when we think the stuff they do is wrong. That's the way they were designed, to suppress, to oppress. To dehumanize others and stuff like that, to make it easy to take human life. I know that we don't want pussies, we don't want people who are scared to fight and things like that, but it's almost like what I'm left with. America's been going down a path towards Nazism. Dave Christman, he talked about, we've tried to use the fascist stuff of the Nazis while also keeping it under control. We have the Nazi helmets. A lot of what we use is blitzkrieg type tactics in the U.S. military. A lot of it, we had Operation Paperclip. We brought Nazi scientists over to America. We had, as I understand, they carried on some of the mind control stuff, MK Ultra and all that. So it's almost like in a lot of ways, America's been heading down this path of fascism, neo-Nazi fascism, for a long time. And looking at the fact that you're training law enforcement with Nazi stuff in it, it kind of proves that point, doesn't it? Because, what they said evidently that they hadn't used that in a while, and Bo was like, well, that's good, that's great. What do they replace it with? And that's my sentiments exactly. Why would anybody do that? And what that really shows you is kind of like the institutions of the state police, Kentucky State Police and others, are neo-Nazi. Basically, from what I'm reading, they almost kind of want their cops to be a Gestapo force, a shock trooper force, a force that, law doesn't really matter to them and things like that. And it just, to me, it comes across as, I don't, so much of 2020, so much of Trump has been kind of like showing us as black people, yeah, America was as bad as our grandparents told us it was. Whether it's this here talking about neo-Nazi claims, Hitler quotes, and Goebbels quotes in a police handbook, whether it's Nixon making anti-Semitic statements, whether it be Ronald Reagan calling Africans monkeys who don't want to wear shoes, whether it be John Wayne talking about can't the niggers take over. So much of 2020 and Trump's administration, it's just like so much has come out. And people talk about how like we can't take away all of America just because there was racism. And it's just like, it's almost terrifying that it's worse than I thought. It's worse than I was raised. It's worse than we knew. I mean, really, like in a lot of ways, it's almost like worse. Just how deeply racist, deeply hateful. And it's almost like, and Trump kind of hints at this, that yeah, America is racist. And that to be an American, you have to either be racist or accept racism. And that the problem isn't racism, the problem is the fact that you guys keep talking about that. Like it's almost like, if it doesn't sound right, but the whole Trump administration has kind of been, I don't want to say a repudiation or it's been a centering of this is what America, the soul of America. Like I said, the John Wayne and Nixon, and we knew Nixon was an ass. We knew, we already knew these things. I'm not telling you nothing new, but it's just that for me, people talk about how they worry that Trump stuff makes racism and stuff acceptable. I think that's people who already were leaning towards that, so I'm not going to talk about that. But so much of it, I guess like for blacks who want to assimilate, what Trump kind of taught you is you may not be able to. And like to really assimilate really up here as a black man is to really not know anything, to not be politically aware. And to me, if you're black and you're not politically aware, and everywhere you look, white folks are, you see Trump signs everywhere, they're politically, that is a weakness. That's like if me and you are fighting, and I say I'm tired of fighting, and I give you my gun, and I lay down on the ground. Like that is kind of in a way what you're saying when you say we're not going to teach racism training. That is kind of in a way what you are saying, the point you're making there, that we're just supposed to lay down and take it, and that's what America is. I think to me that might be the clearest example or showing of the fall of America that there is. I'm not an economist. I've never said I was. I'm not an economist. I am not. I have no money in the stock market. I don't follow the markets, and I don't do that. I don't follow Dow Jones, none of that. But it is kind of like in a way that with Trump, though, I'm talking not just him, the Trump era, not just Trump. It's everything people around him, comments he's made, comments people around him make, the white supremacist groups they make. It's like this era is like regression towards what's in that Kentucky police handbook of racism, of viciousness. Sometimes, like I think that book, that story that got it could happen here, talking about America like going into civil war. I think that's real, man. Like I don't mean to be pretentious. I don't mean to be like dramatic. I don't mean to be dramatic, but it is kind of like that sometimes. That this country is really ugly, and this country has a really ugly history. And the more you look at it, the more you realize that, yeah, you got we got, what's the name, Smollett, Justice Smollett, you got things like that, but then you've also got law enforcement handbooks quoting Adolf Hitler. So, you know, it's kind of a, we almost, I don't know if we want to say we needed Trump. I don't know if it made any sense.